We're here. Morning. It is Sunday morning, and we've actually taken the car up this morning because we've got loads to bring up. Can you see behind me? Ooh. Yeah, we're bringing things up. I've got chilies to pot up and some more tomatoes to go in the polytunnel, and we've also got compost because we're doing the potting up. So yeah, we're going to be doing a bit of traipsing backwards and forwards to the car to begin with.
What do you reckon, and then come back for the compost?
Yeah. This is the first trip, but the first issue we've come across is we can't find the keys to the gate, as per usual. Are they in there? Oh, good. Right, we're off. We go. Morning, Lil. Okay, the very first thing on the list though today is to have a bit of a tidy up, because the grass has been growing like crazy, like way more than anything we've actually been trying to encourage to grow. So first thing we're going to do is got the strimmer with me. I'm going to do some strimming, we're going to do some mowing, we're going to get the place looking tidy, because it's just not nice when it doesn't look right, you know. That's one of the things about having grass paths, is you do have to keep on top of them. But yeah, we're going to do that first. Okay, a bit of a before and after here. This is outside of the shed. It's all lumps and bumps and grassy tufts, and I mean, look at the state of it. And then, ding! Oh, it's a lovely sight. I can't tell you how much better that makes me feel about everything. Oh, how much better does that look? I have to stop filming most of that because it's been raining. Just feels nice. I know it's no May. It's no May. I know it's no May. That's it. But we've left huge swathes of area not mowed all the way around on the top section, just like cut a path through it. So I don't feel too bad about it. So what is next? The sun looks like it's just trying to peek out, which is pretty exciting. And I've got in the cold frame, I've got a whole load of spring onions and shallots and all that kind of stuff, which I'm going to put out. And the bed that they're going to go in has currently got the chard from last summer in it, which we haven't been eating. I mean, we've been eating the stuff that's in the poly and the covered bed, but the one that's in that bed we've just been kind of giving to the girls. So we're going to take out the best of them and give them to the girls. We hang them up inside the cage so it gives them a bit of something to do. That's the next thing on my list. I'm just going to take another sweeping shot of the lawn as we come out. Yeah, enough of that. Right, in this far corner, I just called them shallots and spring onions, but that was a lie. They're mainly leeks, to be honest, and they're just about ready to come out. I mean, if I'd had these in deeper pots, I would leave them until they got a bit thicker, but I'm just going to put them out as they are. This is the bed that I'm going to clear. So I'll take the top growth off and we'll just eat that ourselves. And then a couple of the ones which are completely blown, I will tie up and give to the chickens. These are actually direct sown from about this time last year, so they've lasted pretty well. And even out of these scraps, we've got quite a lot here actually. It's not bad. And I'll take a couple of these blown ones for the girls. Want to have a play with this? Coming out, Willa. What's this? Fancy it? So the rest of these I'm just going to nip off at the root and put in the compost heap, but I'm not sure what's going on here because I'm not playing this in reverse. She is actually walking backwards down the allotment and I don't really know what she's doing. I mean, obviously she's pulling the hose, but not sure. Why is she going to just pick up the end? I don't know. I do not know. Anyway, I'll let her get on with that. And the sun's out. So yeah, I'll just cut these off at the base and stick them straight in the compost bin. There's not too much weed pressure in here actually, so I'm just going to take out what needs to be taken out and then hoe the rest over. We are still waiting for our manure compost delivery, which is a bit of a shame, but we were expecting it first week of June, so I suppose we've still got a bit of time to go. But I've got 1 or 2 bags left over, so I'm going to put one in here. Normally we put 2 bags per bed, but obviously what with being a bit short on it, it's just going to be 1 in here. Now, can you remember, is Lincoln, is that a spring onion or a leek? I will. So we are not short of a leek, basically. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4 varieties of leek, and there's a spring onion in there that I think is a spring onion rather than a leek, but I can't actually remember, so I'm going to have to go and do, you know, old notes checking. But we've definitely got 4 varieties, and there's quite a lot of them. But what we're going to do is, because we've got so many of them, is I'm going to not sow them, they're already quite clearly past sowing stage. I'm going to plant them half distance together, so I'll get twice as many in a row as I would do if I was going to let them get big, and we will just pick every other one when they're relatively small, then leaving the every other one that we're leaving in. I'm not explaining this very well, am I? I'm going to plant them quite close together, and then as we eat them, we'll eat some when they're quite small, and we'll use that as kind of a thinning out process at the end, leaving leeks with the right distance for them to get quite big. Does that make sense? You know what I mean. Dead simple way of planting out these leeks. I'm going to use a dibber, make a hole. If it's not, I mean, obviously the soil at the moment is completely sodden because we've just had basically rain all of May, and so this works really well. But if your soil's a bit dry, you're going to really want to give it a good soak, otherwise the dibber action isn't quite so clean. Yeah, so it's just rows of dibber holes, and then I'm going to just drop each of my leek seedlings straight into the hole. You don't even have to cover them up because that will be done when you water them. These are quite spindly, these little leeks. Like I said before, I would often leave them a bit longer than this, but I had them so packed into this little seed tray that they're really ready to come out. So I'm planting mine out quite small. You can leave them to be up to kind of a pencil thickness in their pots before you plant them out. So with these, they're quite entangled, and there's a number of different ways you can do it. I mean, there's so many different ways of doing everything, but normally what I would do is just bunch them up like that straight out, shake a bit of the soil off. They're pretty tough, these seedlings, you don't have to worry about them too much. And then taking a pair of secateurs that's a lot sharper than mine, so they're just in one fell swoop rather than having to chew them like I do. But you just take off the roots or trim the roots, so that they sit in the hole easier. So you just want them like that, so that each individual leek sort of looks like that. Still got a healthy root system on it, but it's just a bit easier to get in the hole. So just plonking them straight down like that into your dibber hole. Normally we only plant about a third or half a bed of leeks, and I've obviously got really overexcited with the leeks this year because we've got masses of them. And I'm probably going to end up doing this whole bed and then still giving some away at the end of the day. But we've got 3 varieties. We have got Musselburgh, which is a variety we grow every single year. It's a great leek. We've also got Autumn Giant, or is it Autumn King? I think it's Autumn Giant. And we grew that one last year and it was a really nice leek. It was really chunky. Musselburgh is quite a tall leek, and Autumn was a really fat stemmed chap. And the other one we've got is Carrington 2, which I've never grown before, so that's a bit of an experiment. So I'm going to do a whole bed of these, and then as they start coming to a good size, but not massive, we will start eating them from sort of midsummer time, leaving just every other one, or maybe even less than that, for autumn and winter and possibly into next spring. It is chucking it down. Get you on there. Yeah, it's chucking it down. So I'm going to carry on doing the leeks, but it's not much good you being out there because you're going to get wet. And so I'm going to carry on doing this in the rain, and I'll just show you the result at the end. It is Okay, so that took quite a long time, but we've got them all in. There is about 300 of them in there. And the next stage is to water them in, and I'm just pouring the water straight into each of the holes individually, but just angling it slightly to the side so that it washes a bit of mud in there to keep the roots down, because if you just pour water straight in the top, the leek will float and just come out the top. So you're just kind of keeping a hole, so you're not filling the hole up entirely, but just wash a little bit of mud down into each one of the holes. And that's it. A whole bed of leeks. That's unexpected. Chilli? Chilli?
Chilli? Yeah. It's freezing, actually. It's very freezing. I can't find the keys there.
I've got the car keys.
All right, and I've got the other keys.
Okay.
Right, let's get going.
So we're back to rain again, and we're going to take this opportunity to go home and have some lunch because, yeah, it's a bit crappy out there at the moment. And but we'll be back this afternoon because we've got chilies, tomatoes, tree spinach, all sorts of stuff to do. See you in a bit. This is delightful. Glad I got them in while it was only a bit of drizzle, really. This weather's nuts. All right, I will actually see you in a bit now.
We're going this way because it's too hard over there. Hello, darling. Hello. Hi, everyone.
Are you Soggy cat? I think you are Soggy cat.
Hey, let me go.
Yes. Soggy Sog. We're back. The weather's not improved. It's now, not only is it sort of soggy, but it's now windy too. Fabulous. But the things I've got to do this afternoon are in the greenhouse and in the polytunnel, so I'll be alright. Or we'll be alright. Not sure about Mum. She's not happy. Yeah. Oh, but one thing I did bring, which I was pretty pleased about, is when I went home, we had lunch, and really wasn't feeling like coming back, to be honest. Like, I got really soaked just as we were leaving, and I really didn't want to come back. I was lying there, and then somebody on Instagram was like, oh, I've just made it up to the allotment and I've got tea and cake with me. And I was like, that was the inspiration I needed. So I've got tea, and I don't have cake, but I've got biscuits. So I feel okay. I'm gonna go get on with some work. Okay, I am safely ensconced in the polytunnel, and I'm going to be taking out these absolute beasts behind me today. I'm a bit sad about it, but I'm comforted by the fact that they are actually sending up a flower spike now, so they're coming to their end anyway. So I'm going to take them out, and then I'm going to put the last of the tomatoes that are going in here in. So I think I've brought 9 with me, and I think I've got space for 9. So fingers crossed that all tallies up. All that compost that I brought up this morning is for the peppers, so I don't actually have any to stick in here. So I'm going to plant them not too deep, so they're going to be just like at surface level, and then, because you know normally you plant tomatoes really quite deep, so I'm going to plant them that high, like at pot level, and then when we get the compost I'm just going to whack it in to like take it up higher, so eventually they will be in deeper than they're going in today. But yeah, I was going to tie up some tomatoes, but I don't think they're quite at that stage yet, so I'm just going to have a bit of peruse of how they're doing in here already. It's amazing how much they've grown already just in that, what is it, week that I've had them in here. So that's the scheme. I've got a couple of double up varieties here. I've got another Black Russian and another Japanese Black Truffelli, just because I absolutely love them, and I'm just going to be planting them exactly the same way as I did them last week, pooling the string in the bottom of the hole and then planting the tomatoes straight on top, so that the roots themselves are what anchor the tomatoes. And then as the tomatoes grow, I'll just be winding the string around them, and that will keep them kind of self-supported. I only had one that didn't work last year, and that was because the plant fell over when it was really young. I say fell over, I knocked it over. So it never really got the strength back up again, but all the rest of them are fine. But look at this, look how much they've grown. So these were all the same size when they were at home in their pots. And these are the ones that have been in here a week. They're like nearly twice the size of these chaps. So yeah, that's encouraging. Okay, on to the monster. It's sending up a spike now, so it's definitely time to come out. Isn't it a beautiful thing? Ooh. So that's the back clear. I'm going to leave this in. It's going to flower, but we're still eating it as salad, and it kind of stays fresher in here than in the fridge. So I'm going to leave that where it is. I've got to untangle all this string, and I'm just going to plant the tomatoes across the back here. I've got a couple of garnet tomatoes to go in this side that get really, really tall if last year was anything to go by, and I'm expecting them to climb up really tall and then go across the roof. So I'm putting them all together so that I can form a framework across the top of the polytunnel to support them. Whereas last year I had them dotted all over because I didn't know, and it made it quite difficult to kind of link them all together.
It's heavy.
They certainly are, aren't they? The weather's pants, people. It's pants. The weather's pants. It is complete pants. Right, next up on the great to-do list is potting up some of the chilies. I've brought 6 with me, and we're going to put them in a mix of pots. So normally every year we grow everything in. There's a bloody aeroplane coming. Sorry if it's a bit windy. It's well, it's windy. Right, next thing I've got to do is pot up some chilies which we brought in from home. Oh, it really is windy. I'm losing the pots. So normally every year we grow all of our chilies, and you're not going to be able to hear anything I'm saying, am I? No. So I'm just going to mime. These green pots are the ones that we use most years. We use them for the melons and the aubergines, and we're using for the chilies, but we're also going to try these chaps, which are a bit smaller and orange. Exciting. So I'm going to pot these 6 chilies into these pots. Fab. Using a compost I've never used before. It's just a New Horizon one for veg, it says, but it was the only one I could get that wasn't, that was peat free. And I've just opened this up and it looks really weird. It's like grey. I mean, it must be all right. I don't know. Have a look. It's like, I don't know, just looks a bit weird. It looks grey, but I'm going to go with it and we'll see what happens. Yeah, so I'm using the green pots and the little pots. So green pots are the ones we use normally, and it's that size, kind of the standard size we use. But Mum was watching, I don't know what it was, it might have been Gardener's World or something the other day, and she reported back that she thought we should try them in smaller pots to try and, I think it was increase the yield of chilies. I can't remember what she said. But anyway, we're going to be growing kind of one in the orange pot and one in the large pot. So these are Cayenne and Anaheim. We're going to be growing them in both and see if we get a difference in the yield or the flavour of the chilies or something along those lines. Pretty windy. I think we're probably going to head home. There's only one thing I really need to do at home, and that is to sow some sweet corn. So I guess we could do that. I don't actually know what time it is, and because my phone is my time telling device and you are on my phone currently, I've got no idea what time it was, but we didn't get back up here until what, 4ish. So I guess it must be approaching 1 o'clock. Yeah. Just pick a bit of asparagus before we head home. They're being really slow this year. Really slow. Normally, like the first week, you get kind of dribs and drabs, and then it's just like masses of it. But it's just not happening this year. Like, it's a bit sad, really. I mean, this is May. What kind of weather is this for May?
Right?
Yep. Are you ready to go home, Mum?
I am ready to go home. I think I might light the fire.
What? It's bloody May. End of May.
Cold and miserable. Well, look at that. It looks like a potted plant.
I'll just get the trolley.
Yes. Beautiful.
Well, that was a bit wet, wasn't it? It's not been particularly May-like, I think it's safe to say. And I know that it seems like for the last like 10 weeks, but I think it's been for like the last 4 weeks or so. Every week it's been like, don't worry, at the end of this week, it's going to start getting brighter, it's going to start getting better. Well, that has not been the case so far. But looking at my phone, I mean, the forecast doesn't look too bad. I mean, it's not going down to 4 at night anymore, which is a bit of a bonus. So you saw me put the 9 extra tomatoes into the polytunnel this week. That's basically my indoor tomatoes done. But I'm going to put some outside. I've got some duplicates. And I want to put them just out in the bed with the plastic poly cover. You know, we've got one of the beds that's covered. I want to move that off there and get that onto a bed that's going to have tomatoes and some extra peppers and extra chilies and things in it, which will work really, really well, but only after this wind has died down, because at the moment it's just crazy. It's just ripping it off every day and then we're going and putting it back on. So it's not really doing its job. So I can't get them out until the weather really does cheer up a bit. But next week guys, next week, I'll drink to that. Next week, we're gonna have better weather. We are. That's very nice. So although it was wet and a bit wild, got quite a lot done, which is deeply pleasing, because now I'm only really doing one massive day at the allotment, kind of getting things done every week. It's working out pretty well on Sunday, and I mean, because we've only got that one day where we're both there and like we can dedicate the whole day to being up there and to getting things done, the weather has become a bit sort of inconsequential. Like, I don't get to choose between, oh, it's going to be sunnier tomorrow, I'll do it that. It's just like, well, it's Sunday, this is what we're doing. But it does mean that Sunday has become a pretty busy day. It's nice though. I'm really enjoying just being able to get like, so I love the tinkering, don't get me wrong. Like, I love going up every day and doing a little bit and doing a little bit, but at the moment, because that's not possible, it's just really nice to know that you just got one day. Doesn't matter what the weather's going to be like, you're just, right, wake up on Sunday morning, this is what we're doing. So that's pretty good. And then I've got one day midweek, which I'm going to be up there as well, doing something for the new Thursday video. So if you saw my post, you can do like a community post on here. I haven't really worked out what they're about, because although I've put a couple out, I've never actually seen them from anybody else. So I don't know if they just kind of like float off into the ether. But last Saturday's video didn't come out because due to just scheduling and not actually having enough time between the Saturday and getting the vlog out on Tuesday, I've swapped the day to Thursdays. So there'll now be a Tuesday-Thursday upload schedule for the foreseeable. Just remember the T's. Yeah, so it's quite nice to just know that like we're just going to get stuff done, and it's made my kind of schedule a lot easier for the time being. Because there's a lot more work to be done for actual work at the moment. So I'm not able to kind of siphon some of that time off for doing bits and pieces like this. At the moment, it's not really feasible. It shouldn't be feasible anyway, to be honest, but it has been a little bit. But now it's just not possible. So I'm going to have to be a bit more kind of regimented about when and where I get this stuff done. But basically, things are moving ahead. I know I'm whinging about the weather and I apologise. Like, really, it's not that bad. There could be way worse weather than this. It's just frustrating because it feels like we could really get going, and it's just wet. It's just so wet. And I'm really lucky, you know, because our soil is just basically sand. So it does drain. So I've seen some people with clay soil and really compacted paths and stuff that it's just waterlogged. I mean, our garlic even is really happy, and I know garlic normally really, really hates wet feet, but I mean, you can't really get wet feet on my allotment. I mean, I'm not exaggerating when I say it's sand. If we don't put compost, like as in like a good layer of horse manure on every year, when you water it, it just all the sand rises to the surface and it just looks like a beach. So we don't really suffer with waterloggedness. But we do suffer a lot with leaching. So when it's raining a lot, just the nutrients just disappear from the soil, which is a real shame. Whereas obviously clay soils really hold on to the nutrients. We don't, it's totally gone. But things don't rot. So I suppose you've got, you know, it's swings and roundabouts, isn't it? But what was I saying? I was saying, yeah, that I have been whinging about the weather, but really I do know that it could be worse, and things are moving along. Like, it's not as bad as I keep thinking. The only problem I've got is that, like, last week, in the middle of the week, it was a terrible day. It was torrential rain. I was at work. I was feeling really miserable about everything. And my phone decided to kick up at me like, this is what you were doing last year, or this day last year was this. And we were picking courgettes. We were picking courgettes this time last year. And I was just sat at work. I was just like, oh. But every year is different, and last year we were so far ahead. I've still got really high hopes for this year. I think we're going to have an incredible summer, because we had an absolute banging spring last year, and then the summer just kind of petered out a bit, didn't it? This year, crap spring, we're going to have an incredible summer. I know it. I've got full confidence we're in for an amazing year. But anybody who is just starting out and this is like your first year or your second year gardening, this isn't normal. Like, things are being really slow, but that's not necessarily a bad thing, because sometimes when you've had really good weather in the spring and you get everything out, things don't really, things peter out quite quickly. And the peas and stuff are doing really well because they love the cooler weather. Last year they suffered really badly with the heat. So there is some good things, there is. It's just that every year is different. Every year is different, I've got to remember that. 21st of May is not courgette picking day every year. It's not. Something I do have to work out what to do with is what to do with all that chard that I picked today. So tonight I'm making stuffed onions. So chard stuffed onions. I will photograph it, stick it on the blog because it's really tasty. But basically, we're on, chaps. We've got tomatoes in the polytunnel. We've got leeks in the ground. Next week, I've got to plant out the peppers. I've got loads more brassicas to plant out. I've got to sow the sweet corn. I know I said I was coming home to sow the sweet corn, but I didn't. I just had a glass of wine and have a chat to you. I'm going to do that in the morning. So we're moving on. We are getting somewhere. I mean, I'm looking out the window now. Basically split down the middle. It's a black cloud on that side and bright blue sky this side. That's basically just how it's been, isn't it? Just keep facing the blue side and we'll be all right. Well, on that note, I'm going to say cheers. I hope the weather isn't getting you down too much. It's pants. And I think, funnily enough, like yesterday and the day before, I saw this huge wave of like comments on here and also on Instagram, and even just like face to face with people, where everyone was just like, okay, I'm fed up with this now. I'm really fed up with the weather. It just seemed to be like universally everybody just kind of like reached their peak. Yeah, we'll get through it. We'll be fine. We'll get through it. Thank you for coming to the allotment with me. I will see you on Thursday first for strawberry cages, and then this time next week for more of the same.